Well, hi, thanks for joining me here in my shop today. Hey, what's this record player doing on my bench? If you're a subscriber, then you know I've started work on a jukebox amplifier, a Seabird jukebox amplifier. And I think I mentioned in one of the videos I may attempt to do another project simultaneously and flip back and forth, because I'm expecting that I need to go slow on the jukebox amplifier while I learn all the ins and outs. I think there's many ins and outs on that thing. So I'll work a little, maybe a day on the jukebox, and then I'll flip over to this project. And what is this project? So this is the record player from a console. A console I took photographs of. And is it terrible for me to show these just like this? I think I'm going to just show them to you the way I took them right here on my phone, so you get an idea of what we're talking about. So, oh, that's Peanut. You wonder what he does all day. That's what he does all day. Okay, so here in no particular order are the photographs of the console. Hopefully I've got one in the front. So of course that's the back. It's a European radio in this console. There's a good shot of it, very typical of European receivers. Close-up of the wiring that I know I'm going to disturb. Those are the turntable wires. They're right here. Probably like a dummy, I didn't take a photo of the front of it. That's just a shot up under it, another shot. Just catching wires, tricky things they did with the wires. There's the speakers from it. This one appears an electrostatic speaker, typical of European stereos. There's sort of a shot of the front of it. That's kind of lousy, isn't it? But there's a drawer here. You open it up, and there's the record player. Down there, it's partway out here. You can see the typical European. I did not take a shot of it. Well, anyway, that's enough for now. It gives you some idea of what I'm dealing with here. So I have no reason to think the record player doesn't work mechanically, but I have no reason to think it does. I don't know. It looks to be, well, I'll show it to you. Underneath here, looks like it just came out of the factory. It's as clean as a whistle. Lubrication is still a little greasy. So there's a chance this guy works just as he is. The outputs on this kind of European style plug. There we go. So the first thing I'm interested in with this is the cartridge. Pretty much any record player can be mechanically restored fairly easily, many of them without any expense. It's just a matter of cleaning and relubrication. But one thing that often is the thing that haunts is what's going on with the cartridge. So I've already taken the cartridge out. It's sitting right here. I'll show you how I did that. Okay, so this is a spring-loaded tone arm. It's a pretty good one. Feels pretty good. So the spring loading is here, or spring suspension, maybe I should call it. So it's pretty light. That's kind of impressive. The cartridge, I've never seen one that looks quite like this. Okay, it's got a flip needle on it. It's really heavy duty. This is a really heavy duty guy. And also, when you look at the cartridge, you just see just a huge amount of dust in there, and a lot of it has fallen off here, but this is just packed with dust where the needle is. Really terrible. So the big issue is, does the cartridge work? Let me show you how this goes in. I was quite surprised. That's it. That's about the easiest cartridge in and out. I saw this little tab here, and I just pushed it down, and out she comes. So you can see the contacts up in here. There's 4 of them. They're all black, probably from some kind of oxidation or something, and they make contact with these surfaces here. So my first impression was this cartridge was no good, but my second impression after testing it, I just took my voltmeter here, stuck it on 2 volts AC, spent quite a bit of time holding the contacts to the appropriate contact here, and then trying to flip the needle a little bit and see what comes out of it. I saw half a volt come out of both channels on this guy, so I think that's pretty strong. That's the end of that. So really, I think what we want to do now is take a good look at the needle and what the story is with it. So that's where we're gonna go next. We're going there next. Now, we have another fantastic day outside. Just wonderful sunshine all day. Cool air, hot sun. Wow, you really can't beat it. Okay, so I got to set this guy up a little bit. And we'll be looking at the cartridge underneath it here. Okay, there it is. We're looking right down at the needle. Can you believe it? Buried in that dust. And a lot of the dust has been knocked off and fallen off just from me handling it here. So this was even worse, like really bad. So you can also see the needle in the cradle there. Plastic cradle. Let me get a pointer here. See the needle in the plastic or rubber cradle right here. This part often gets stiff right in here. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is the part that transfers the motion down into the cartridge, but I could easily be wrong about that. So I think a closer look is in order here. Let's get closer to this guy. Now, if I had to lay odds on the needle being good, I wouldn't. I don't think there's much chance at all. Where is the needle? It's in there somewhere. Or is it? Hard to tell, but you know, it could even be that the needle is actually gone. You see what looks like a hole there. But that could be the needle. That could be the needle right out on the tip. Who knows? But look at the amount of junk in there. Somebody's shirt is in there. Holy smokes. Okay, so what we got to do is we got to pull that needle out of there. Now, this one's a little different from most. Most you pull the needle and the shaft. This thing's got a whole clip feature here, kind of a what? In fact, when you look at this cartridge, the whole thing looks like it's snapped together. There's a snap piece here. There's a snapping retainer here, or clip, I guess you would call it. And then there's the one on the top that's got the needle in it. If you took all 3 of those off, this thing would fall right apart. Hope I'm doing this right. I didn't think they'd make these tricky or difficult. Maybe straight up from the back here. It's really on there. And just pull on excuse me, pull on it, but I'm pretty sure that wouldn't be the right way to do it. I really can't see any other way of doing this. There it goes. See the dirt fly when I did that? Let's go back under here, see what's happening. This is scary. It's pretty scary looking. Well, there is a needle there on the end. I can see it. 2 of them. Wow. Look at that thing. It looks like some, ancient battle axe from European wars. Wow. Okay, well, let's take it right out and we'll clean it up and then we'll look at it and see what the heck we really have here, because not looking too good at the moment. But you don't know for sure. So I'm going to clean all the junk out of here too. A little stiff brush. I don't know if I really have exactly the right thing here. Let's try this. Why don't we watch it under the microscope while we... So obviously just mechanical abrasion is not going to do the job here. I mean, this has probably got record plastic debris in it. Put some kind of a solvent on there, but I wouldn't want to, potentially dissolve whatever it is that's holding those needles. Hey, there's quite a bit of needle there. The needle is emerging. The one on the left looks really sharp and pointed. The one on the right, not so much. Okay, what if we throw a little alcohol on there? Let's see, I'm just going to check my bar here. Isopropyl alcohol. Let's try a little of that. My thinking is alcohol is pretty gentle when it comes to a solvent. This brush is so weak. I need something a little more abrasive here, a little tougher. Well, am I seeing the actual material that holds the needle in? Let's go on the other side here. And a little bit of a stiffer brush. I wonder what I've got that would be stiffer. Shorter bristles. Maybe this one. That's definitely stiffer. Okay. A little more alcohol. So one of the ways I like to clean these, which has been really, really effective, is to take a magic eraser or a product like that, and what you do is you push this into the magic eraser needle point first. You don't drag it around, you just push it in and pull it out, push it in and pull it out. Now, do I have a little bit of that around here? I usually have a little bit. And I found that to be really effective at cleaning off a needle. And that's why I'm doing it this way. That's why I'm not doing it that way. I don't know, is that going to get cleaner? Or is that the stuff? Is that the glue that holds it all together? It's probably clean enough to be used, or to be examined, that's for sure. Okay, I'm going to take a quick peek here and see if I can find a magic eraser piece. Now I can keep a little piece here somewhere. I may not have one anymore. No, I don't see a little piece, so we won't do that. We're just going to take a real close look at this needle now and try to determine what condition it's in. Okay, we're going to try to zoom in on this. Just bear with me here, I kind of lost track of it. Clumsy fingers. There we go. Focus. Oh, that's a good look at it. Okay, I'd say that's still gummed up with junk. Now, I look at that needle. So what you're seeing there is a conical holder, if you like, and at the very top of the cone, the last bit of it, the shiny part, is the diamond. Right on the tip there. And to me, the very, very tip of that diamond doesn't look sharp. It looks chiseled. I'll take an even closer look at this in a minute. So that's one side. Which side is that? So that would be the red side, I think. Red, if I couldn't remember right, red is 16, 33, and 45. So that's the micro groove needle, and you know, at this point we would have to say it's definitely showing signs of wear. Think about what happened if you drag a point like a needle like this through a groove. What shape it would adopt as it wore down. It would turn into a chisel aligned with the groove. And okay, let's take a look at this side. Now this would be the 78 supposedly, if I've got it right. You know, the needle looks a lot smaller here. The 78 needle is bigger. Maybe I've got it backwards. So let me think again. Let's see, this would be showing the operator the green side of the little tag here, and green is 78, so I'm pretty sure this is the 78 needle. Wow. What's going on with that? We gotta get closer to this stuff. Okay, let's get a little closer here. I'll zoom up. Try to re-aim or reposition the needle. I'm watching myself do this on my other screen, by the way. It's really quite tricky now because the almost got it. So I got a plan on how to make this work a lot better. Got another microscope with a an adjustable stage, I guess you call it. Yeah, on a microscope. There we are. Okay, a little focus. There. Okay. Well, it's intact, you know, because I can see the cone coming up, some kind of epoxy material or something like that, and then at the very top is the diamond, the little tiny diamond. It's certainly there. Now you expect on a record player like this the 78 needle to be in good shape, because generally speaking nobody was playing 78s by the time record players came out with speeds, you know, 33 and 45 on them, especially 45. The 78 records were pretty much a thing of the past. Well, so I'm not jumping up and down and thinking right away this is shot. It's certainly not broken. Let's look at the other side now. The one that I'm pretty sure is the 45. Of course, the ultimate test is to put this, put a record on. Oh, son of a gun. Got it. Good. Okay, a little more focus here. Yeah. So you look at the tip of the diamond, it does not look like a point. It looks, I don't know what that looks like. It looks mucked up to me. Anyway, I don't know if we can get, can I get even closer with this guy? Any more power? That's the limit there. Let's see if I can get, now I gotta move the camera itself to focus here. Bear with me while I just get this set right. So I don't think I can zoom in any better than this. So it's pretty clear to me the tip is damaged. It's easy to be fooled as to what it really looks like in real life when you're looking in these this view because of reflections and things like that. Like it almost looks like the point swells out. I think basically the point is gone. I think the point is gone on this. So we can certainly play a record with it. It's there. The needle is there. Now what about that big gigantic hump of whatever that stuff is back there? What is that? Look, it's full of threads and stuff. It's just junk. Maybe I can pick that off at this point with nice clumsy, without picking off the needle. Oh, it's really hard. Oh, I almost got the needle that time. This stuff is hard as a rock. Hard as a rock. Maybe I should leave it there. Let's see. Why? Because the more I fool with it, where to go? The more I fool with it, the more risk there is of damaging the needle itself. So what? It's there. It just gives me the heebie-jeebies looking at it. I can't get that off. It strikes me it's rigid enough. If I can just flex the material on there a touch, it'll crack right off. Maybe all I gotta do is just kind of squeeze it here. Oh, big chunk of something came off. Hope the needle's still there. Alcohol doesn't stay around. So I think the owner of this is really intent on playing records. So getting this, as good a shape as possible. Oh, that stuff, it just is. Okay, let's see what we got now. This has got to be good enough to, to at least find out if it's good enough. It's got to be good enough to at least find out if it's good enough. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. Let's take another look at the needle here. This time. And you still see the end of it is mucked up. Let me see if I can get this right onto its side. Yeah, that's the way to look at it. Now we're going to see what's going on. Okay, Okay, so the needle we're looking at, I think, is the 78. Let me just, this is, you know what, I can't be sure because things get flipped around in the microscope. Get the other side on there too. We'd be pretty sure the right hand needle is the So I just stopped there because on the shaft I can see where I cleared away the gunk on the left side, and I thought I was working on the well, who cares? Both needles are there. That one's actually sharper, but it looks bigger. 78, this one looks duller but smaller, probably a worn out 33. That's probably what that is. Just get a touch more focus on it. Looks like grooves and stuff cut along the side of the needle. I got all kinds of glacier ideas going through my head here while I'm looking at this. You know, glaciers, ice dragged through a valley, record player, needle dragged through a groove. Kind of similar. Yes, playing records is similar to glaciation. Yes. Okay. Enough looking at that. I'm not going to see any more now. We've seen what there is to see of that. So the very good news is this is a serviceable needle. Oh. Let's go back. We got to look at all the junk in here. Uh-oh. Back we go. Okay, let me just get this on the camera here. Okay. Back we go. Now, how did he get that gunk up? Like, what kind of records are being played that are spewing up this kind of junk? That's unbelievable. So should I shove alcohol in here? So this is probably a ceramic cartridge. Alcohol soaking into the ceramic part. Alcohol in the rubber parts. What else would I possibly use in there? WD-40? I don't think so. So alcohol it is. What about just trying to clean it out without anything? Yeah, that's a good idea. Look at the dust coming out of there. While we're doing this, we're going to take a peek at my own personal cartridge from my own personal record player, turntable rather, which I left on the other day and discovered it was playing for 3 days straight on the inside of a record that was finished. You know what I mean? It doesn't lift up at the end, it just sits. 3 days. There was debris around the groove that the needle had been traveling in, so I'm pretty sure I've ruined my needle. These needles generally good for, you know, something like 1,000 records. Something like 1,000 hours of record playing, let me put it that way. Somewhere in that range. Well, that cleaned up pretty good. Should I go any further? No, I shouldn't go further until there's a reason to go further, and at this point, as far as I know, this thing's ready to go. Needle and all. Let's pop it back in. There we are. Still looks pretty dirty, but okay, let's look at my own needle now. Where did I put it? I carefully put it in here so I wouldn't damage it. And of course I don't know where it is. Shoot. What did I do with it? Okay, that was supposed to be a grab and go sort of thing, and oh my god, what has happened to my cartridge? A cat has run off with it. Okay, So we'll turn our attention, so we'll assume this is actually in pretty good shape. Contacts are pretty bad. Actually, the contacts aren't bad here. The other contacts are bad. Yeah, clean it with your finger. It's probably not the best way. We'll set that over here. Turn our attention to the record player. And if I spot my cartridge, we'll immediately take a look at it. Because I know I'm going to spot it probably when I forget about looking for it. So I think one of the things we want to do pretty much right off the bat is power this thing up and see what it'll do. And also get it sitting stable on my bench here. So I'm making sure the legs here don't interfere with anything. I think they're pretty good. And then the power's just going in there. That's pretty easy. Easy. Where's my power cord? Okay, power cord's in the garage. I'm just going to jog out to the garage and be back in 1 second. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that was kind of stupid, wasn't it? Okay, got my cheater cord here, so we're going to hook it up. Thank you again for the comments that many of you are making on the jukebox project I'm working on. Lots of stuff there. I don't know. I don't know. I hope to not learn the hard way. So some of you are sending me warnings basically. Watch out for this. Watch out for that. Make sure you check this. That stuff's great. So, I don't want to leave these exposed. Can't keep my eye on stuff like this while I'm working. And next thing you know, I'll have this shorted somewhere. And yes, this is just drafting tape, you know, for holding your drawings down to your drafting board. Remember that? Drafting board? Drafting boards? Remember that? T-square drafting boards. 4H pencils. One of the guys I did drafting with had a 9H pencil, man. I had to bow down to him because he had a 9H pencil. You couldn't even see the marks it made. Okay, you have to be my age to understand all that. Let's go up. Let's go up in this world. Now, so the thing was already mechanically engaged, I noticed. All right, let's just finish it off. That's a very good sign. Okay, now the motor's turning free, or the platter's turning free. Beautiful. So we'll put this on 33 speed. Start must be, you know, must be that. This is the large record detector, this little lever back here. And this is also a detector. It rises up to feel if a record is over top of it. And that's how it figures out this size, or this size. I think that's how it works. Okay. Let's plug in. I think we're going to see this thing work perfectly fine. In fact, that's my guess. We're going to raise up the record overarm, as they like to call it. I'm going to put it in this position. Most record players, when you have it in this position, sense that there's a record being dropped, and it will always try to play that record. Even if there's no record being dropped, it will think a record is being dropped because this is up. You see what I mean? This is up. that's down. When it's down, the record player believes there's no records to drop, and it won't come over because it doesn't think a new record is dropped. But as long as this is up above this high, it thinks there's records on here being dropped. Okay, it's not the smartest machine in the world. When you swing it over to the side here, it's held up high enough that it continues to think that there's records being dropped, even if there aren't. Even if you just put the record right down on the platter. Good enough? Good enough. Oh my gosh, there you are. There's a shock. What happened here? How did this come out? You know what I did? I don't know what I did. Like a dummy. I don't know what I did. I don't know what happened there. How did that release? Get in there so you can't come out. There. The other one's good. Okay, more tape. Glad I spotted that, or I would have been wondering, hey, what's wrong with this record player? I just spent half an hour troubleshooting it. Like the pilots who crashed the plane today on May Day because they put on the autopilot and then didn't notice the autopilot got turned off. And in their heads, autopilot's taking care of everything. And they only discovered moments before they crashed that it wasn't. Okay. I think we're set. I think we're safe. Let us apply power here. Nothing happened. That's good. We will now attempt to turn this on. What happens next? If the lights go out, I guess it goes this way. Oh, here we are. That's not so good. Maybe my stand is interfering with this arm. That happens. No. Okay, let's start just taking a look here now. Don't forget Jim. Oh! How about we plug it into the power? Now we're ready. Power on. For real this time. Engage. No, same thing here. Don't want to force any of these parts. Not a good idea. Some turntables, if you swing the arm over, they turn on. I don't think this is that tight. No, nothing's going to happen. It's not that tight. So I think there's a mechanical problem with this lever. In fact, I think it's stuck over here. I think it should probably be resting here, and then you throw it over here. That would be my guess. So maybe if I spin the turntables, it's still oh, it's not disengaged. It's engaged. Okay, so I got power on. This thing could actually come on at any time here. That's the motor doing that, I think. No, maybe not. Nope. Okay, once again, the mechanism seems to be in the neutral spot. Okay, let me get my close-up camera going here. We're going to look up underneath like this and see what's going on under there. Just bear with me for a moment. Okay, we're looking up underneath there, as you saw, the camera's angle, and there's the control I'm trying to work. And you can see it's grabbing onto that lever, and the lever's going next to nowhere. And I think it should be back a lot further here. So you can see the extension arm going back to this other lever. And you can see stuff trying to move all the way up in here. This is the way I think it should go back. It doesn't seem to go back. can't see any reason for anything here. There's not enough stuff. Not enough. Can't see enough. So what we'll do is we will go up here and take off this platter and look underneath, see what's going on. Let's do that. So I have varying luck with getting off a platter. This one, we're going to be lucky on this one. T20/2. T20/2, that's what's written on the cartridge. If you look up the cartridge, you look up a T20/2. And then TW something or other. So these are usually just kind of press fit in. Usually. And they're usually pretty tricky to get out. This one's got a retaining ring on it. When I say press fit, I really don't mean press fit in the notion of what press fit means. Yeah, that's my own version of press fit, by the way. Now, let me make sure this doesn't go flying through my shop. I don't have the proper tools to pull this off without it flying. In case you caught that comment. Come on. Okay, frustration getting high. I'm going to make a mistake. Just going to stop for a little bit and calm myself down. You know, there's something kind of curious about that ring. Just here, have a close-up look at that. The thing that's a little weird about the ring, I'm just going to correct the focus here. Please hang on one moment. Hopefully, while I'm working on that ring, it's not rotating around. I would think as I'm poking on it, it would slide around. It doesn't want to slide around. Is it really a ring? It's not a ring. It's a sleeve. It's not a ring. Look, I can see it down there. Son of a gun. Oh my gosh, this is the ring. Okay, good thing about the close-up camera on there, or I think I would have been beating my brains out for quite a bit longer yet. Okay, see if we can get that ring out of there before we lose it. Put this in a special place, you know, with my other cartridge that I can't find now. Okay, lift this off, come right off. Oh, fantastic, look at that, come right off. Sometimes getting these off, oh, yeah, and sometimes pieces fall out of these things. Where'd it go? I think it was the sleeve. We'll find it. We'll find it soon enough. So, what do we see in here? We see the intermediate wheel, which I'm testing. I'm testing it with the edge of my nail. I'm feeling, can I stick my nail into it? Does it feel like there's a hard polished shell on here? And I can put it up against the shaft of the motor and try to turn it. Does it slide? Does it slip? And I think that's the piece right there. Sure enough, there's the piece I'm looking for. No, this is in great shape. So lots of good news here. I think this is a record player seldom used. Now these record players, just a warning for anybody who has these record players. If the record player is left with the intermediate wheel, or sometimes people call this the idler wheel, pushed up against the shaft here, you will develop a bump. Like you leave this thing for 4 years and then come back and try to play a record, there'll be a deep bump here. Thump, 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 thump. That's what you're going to hear. Most of these record players, when they're in the off state, when the tone arm's over and everything is off, there's a separation between here and here that's maintained, so you don't develop the bump. So you want to make sure you're going to leave these record players for a long period of time that they are in the neutral state, if you like. Part of the way you can determine that is the platter should spin free. You should be able to spin it and just go around, nothing happens. Anyway, enough of that. Why isn't this working now? So let's work the mechanism here and see. So it's pulling here. This is a weird deal. What's this thing doing here? So it looks like this is just a real chintzy way to have a connection between here and here that's a little springy. So they've used this sort of springy arm extension from here. That's my impression of that. And then why it's like this? I don't know. Give it more stability or something? That's kind of weird. Is this on top? It's supposed to be underneath. I think there's a skid mark here. Something does seem to be holding this back from going over. Okay, let's look underneath again. We'll see a little more of the mechanism, see if we can figure anything out here. Ooh, can't figure it out like that. How did the focus get that bad? Oh, I had it right up close, didn't I? So let me wheel this arm and then we'll zoom in on what we want to look at. So there's the pullback spring, pulling it back into this position, which I think is not all the way. Wait a minute now. If this is, was I just not bold enough with the switch? Maybe I'm just a chicken and I'm not pushing that switch hard enough. Yeah, there's really no room to travel further this way. It's got to be wanting to travel back this way, and it's not doing it. It looks like it's held off here. See? Like the thing that locks it when it's not playing is locking it now. And that could be because this is stuck in the off spot. I don't think it is, though. I think it's the opposite. Now wait a minute, this was off. Yeah, if this is off, then this is off. So this was on, this would be on. It's not on. So on would go this way, and that would swing this arm this way. It all adds up. What's stopping it from going? Feels like it's something under here. Let me get my own big screen going here. Okay. First of all, right up under the wheel. So that clicking sound is the limit in the direction we're not interested in. It's what's stopping this. You know what's stopping it? I'll tell you what's stopping it. This is stopping it. It can't get past this little bar here. This is what's stopping it. Okay, that's so. Why are you stopping it? I think what's stopping it is off this extension arm here. This not that one, this one. because the other one is just the one that goes to the control, and then that funny bent one is going way back in here somewhere. Okay. Lots of lubrication problems can occur back in this part. Something is just literally stuck, and you know, sometimes the force you can put on the stuck part through operating the controls is very, very minimal. Even though it may not be stuck all that much, you just may not be able to break it free. There's like nothing moving here. That thing's trying. That little arm is trying. Let's try to follow that arm around. Jim, for crying out loud. Don't be stupid. You got the power on. Dummy. Okay. Back to what I'm doing here. Okay, following the bent arm. Right. Okay, so from here what we're going to do is we're going to flip it over. And go on the basis that this is all a lubrication issue that can easily be found. Let's see now. Okay, there we go. Now we can take a look at this mechanism, which I said looked pretty well lubricated, but you know, maybe not. So I'm just looking for pieces to move freely. Now, not all of them are ready to move freely. Like this one, if you push it this way, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not supposed to, so don't be fooled. So that's loose. This is loose against it. These are all loose. This is probably the velocity detector here. It detects the end of the radio, end of the record rather. That's probably okay. What is this guy? So this is the arm, the overarm, and you can see the overarm is in its compressed position or down position, so it's telling the record player there's no records to play right now. You can see the spring pushing on here. I don't see anything happening though. Put this down. Okay, you know, don't think for a minute I understand this whole mechanism. I don't at all. I just seen a lot of them, and all these little levers now, I don't exactly know what they're doing. I don't think you need to know. Well, that's kind of an interesting thing there. What's that supposed to do? Good question. So far I haven't found anything that I'm going to go aha on. Everything seems quite loose. So let's turn the control here. Where is it? So there's all these different shafts. Oh, you hear that? Something just went. What was that? That was the height adjustment. That's what that is. So height adjustment seems good. Feels good. Works good. You can see the idler wheel going up and down over here. It's got to be this. Got to be this. This looks like it's connecting to. Looks like that's the end of it right there. That little tiny dot. Connecting connecting into this. This appears to be trying to operate a switch. This looks like a switch here. Seems a little loose, eh? I can see the lever. The lever actuates a switch in here. Doesn't seem to be quite right. So you may not be able to see some of this in the video here. Very hard to get it on video. So this little arm here is being pivoted by this rod, and it drops. It's supposed to drop into the switch, sort of a C-shaped opening here. It's not quite in it, and this is rigid. So this is what I'm looking for, something that just doesn't move at all. God, it's as rigid as can be. Phew. Is it jammed on the switch there? I don't think so. The switch seems to be movable. Let's try it now. No, see, this piece is not moving one bit. What else is not moving? So some of these parts are related to the tone arm up above, and if you swing them around down here, sometimes you'll fly the tone arm. Now, I've got the cartridge out of the tone arm, so it doesn't matter much, but you just gotta know it. Things happen kind of suddenly. So I can see a spring. I can see the spring clip here, pulling this arm this way. Trying to pull this arm back. Now, what could be stopping? It could be a stopper. It could be some kind of lever drops into place, like this thing, and stop it. This seems to be out of place also. Like, what's this doing? I don't see how that could be out of place. Oh, so there, you can hear the tone arm flying around under there. I'm going to move this. This one below it. It's moving. Right back to this one again. This main arm here. Why would everything be moving but this arm not? Well, what would happen there? I really can't get a good grip on it anyway to apply pressure. Best way to apply pressure is to push and pull on this rod. Well, so the assumption would be that this is pinned because of lubrication problems, and if I can get solvent into the right spot, lubrication problems will go away. The thing is, this is a really critical area in here. Some of this you do not want to get lubricated. I don't know that for sure. I just know in some... Oh, for crying out loud. Talking away and the camera's aimed wrong. Apologize for that. Yeah, so you just don't want to go spraying lubrication in here willy-nilly, because in some cases, some parts should not be lubricated. For instance, the velocity sensor parts up in here, you don't want any lubrication on them, assuming that's how this one works. So getting back to this now. So this must be pivoting on the same shaft, or pretty close to it. Definitely on the same shaft. It's just hard to believe it's not locked. Something is locking. Now, even if things are locked, there's usually a little bit of play in them, you know, especially in these record players. But this thing is just, wow, lock solid. I could put a more powerful tool on it and try to break it free, but maybe I'm wrong about everything, and I'll break it all right. So it's got to move. It has to be moving. The slot here has this much room to move. The switch is in one throw position. It can go to the other. So it's every reason to believe this will move here. Why won't it? Okay, the only assumption I can go on is lubrication. Okay, lubrication. Or, in this case, glubrication. So I'm just using WD-40, nothing special here. I'm going to try to keep it away from all this. Try to just get it on this part's shaft. down in here. Wait a minute. Is that really where it's pivoting? I gotta look at it with a close-up here. I'm gonna end up spraying a shaft I think it's pivoting on, and it's not. So you can see it's trying. That has to be in that. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Well, my only option is to throw in a little WD-40. Now, WD-40 isn't just oil; it's oil with solvents. Very light oil with solvents. Okay, so everybody yelling, "Don't do it, Jim! Don't do it, Jim!" I've done it. So the solvents will work in there a little bit. What I would be more inclined to do now is, after a couple of minutes, put a lot of pressure on this part and make it move a little bit, and then leave it at that. Once it kind of breaks and moves a little bit, then the oil will penetrate much better. So I theorize. You can put pressure on it by putting a flat screwdriver in here and twisting it. Put pretty controlled pressure on it. Worried I'm making a stupid mistake. I don't think so. Okay. That's the great thing about stupid mistakes. You never know you're making them. I feel great right up until the last moment. So I'm just going to try to move this thing a little bit. Oh my gosh. It's as solid as can be. So I'm not putting much pressure there. I'm out on a lever arm, so I shouldn't put too much pressure. How about the other way? Let's squeeze it in here. Oh my gosh. Guess what? It's moving. I think I moved it. I don't think I moved it. Wow! Okay, so this is one of the, for a record player with a whole pile of really loose, great parts, it's weird that this one is locked so tight. So again, I'm really hesitant that I haven't really figured out what's going on here. What else could it be? I mean, what else could it be? Another alternative is to apply heat into these things. That's, heat into here. Yikes. Maybe a little bit, but well, I think I'm gonna have to let the lubrication time go by. I'm gonna hit it again with more WD-40. Wow. There's no question this is supposed to move, because that's attached to it and it's going to operate the switch here. I'm sure we're on the right spot. Wow. More WD-40. I'm going outside to enjoy the weather here. So I really want to get it. Oh man, I really want to see that pivot shaft now. Got a special light here. Can really get in there. I suppose there's probably an exploded diagram somewhere I could look at. I will show this. What else can it rotate on? Could rotate. Aha! Okay, great. So, out of sight, right below here, on this, is a rivet. There's a rivet right here. That rivet is central on this round spring here. So this is the pivot point for sure. A riveted pivot point. Now, either the rivet is supposed to be attached to this solidly, and as this rotates, the rivet shaft rotates with it, or the rivet shaft is fixed and this is supposed to rotate on the top of that shaft. Forcing it when it can't rotate where it's supposed to rotate will make it rotate somewhere else. I don't want to force it, but I know where the WD-40's got to go now, not where I put it last time. Okay, so it's got to go in here. Get in there. Come on, you can go in there. Yeah. Wait a minute. There we are. We're aimed. Oh, 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 don't lose it. Oh. You know what happens with these bottles? As soon as you start squeezing the button, you move the red pipe. Son of a gun. It's all interfered with here. Get in there. There we go. Oh. It's got too many fulcrums on it. Here we go. Wash. There's a lot went in there. Perfect. Lots in there. Okay, we're gonna let that do its job. Come back and see if we can loosen this part up. If we never get this part loose, the record player's never gonna work. That's the deal there. Okay, I'm going out to see the sunshine and pet my cats. Thanks for watching so far. I'm not sure. I may post at this point, or you know, if I come down a little while and it's loosened up, I'll keep going a little bit more. So if I'm posting this now and this is the end, thanks for watching. If not, away we go. Okay, so it's been I don't know, 10-15 minutes or so. Let's see if that's enough to loosen this guy up here. Probably not. Not when it's this jammed. I'd really want this just to move just a fraction. If you can move just a fraction, we're way ahead. That's a very powerful lever I put here. Do you see anything moving? Boy, I hope I don't have it wrong. Oh, wow. Okay, so if there's a pivot shaft and it's riveted solid to this, and the pivot shaft goes through some kind of sleeve and then is clipped on the top end. It's this sleeve situation that causes the binding. So you have a sleeve with a shaft going through it, and it's bound in there, and so you stick some oil around here. Well, that oil solvent's not going to penetrate into the shaft. If you can make it move a little bit, just a wee bit, well, the solvent will start going in. That's my view of it. Perhaps I put solvent. Let's see, the shaft. Where I shot it should be good. And what about up under the other side? How can you possibly get at it or see it? It's not get-atable. So my option is leave this longer, which is a good option, and another one is throw a little heat on it, which I think is where we're heading with this thing. Also notice that this kind of metal here, so this type of metal, if the sleeve through which the shaft is passing is actually this cast metal, then that explains the binding up, because that happens very often with this kind of metal here. Metal alloy. Okay, give it more time. Clearly. I have a lot of time. Okay, so I think it's total is about a half an hour now since I soaked that. Let's see if it's going to move. This one here. Wow, it's just locked right in there. Not moving at all. So I think I got to go to the next option and try to heat this up a little bit. So I have a hot air gun here. Now this is set a little high. Let me just on. So I'm going to try to shoot the hot air. I want to heat this piece up here is really what I want to heat up. But I want the heat to be way in here. I really don't know how I'm going to do this exactly. So this is now supposedly blowing. It's going to go to 100 degrees C, I think, coming out of there. So the air will be 100 degrees C. That's pretty hot. That's pretty hot. Oh, you know what I need? I need that temperature viewer. Yeah, let's warm this up first. Ooh, that's hot. And I'll go get my thermal viewer, my infrared viewer, and see what's happening here. Just a little bit of heat, not much. Lots of metal here. Okay, gotta go get my viewer. Take a look at it. Okay, I ran all over my house and turns out the viewer is sitting right here. Okay, put on the battery. Now this is probably cooled off already. Okay, switch on. 35 red, -5. I was looking in my freezer with this. Let me just adjust this a little bit. I'll raise the lower one here. Lowest temperature would be 20, I would think. That would be about low. 35. I'm hoping to get a little hotter than that. So let me up this top number here. 35. Oop, wrong way. 35, 40, 45. So if something's 45 degrees in here, it'll be red on the little screen. And we're seeing really next to nothing. Now this machine automatically detects the hottest pixel and reports it here. 30. That's not much at all. And what is it? What is it actually showing? So it's just somewhere in here, but I mean it's only, there's no heat in here. No heat in here at the moment. Okay. Let's try it before we heat it up some more. Here it is. Can't imagine that made any difference though. There's nothing. Rock solid. Okay, so we got to be a little more brutal with the heater, I think. Brutal. So there's some heat in it for sure. So what I'll do is I'm going to raise this upper temperature here. So we got to get up to 60 to see red. 60 degrees to see red. Nothing at 60 yet. Actually, a little less than 60 to see red. Probably 55. Looks like the heat dissipates really quick. You know what? I can actually apply some pressure on this while I'm heating it. That's a good idea. Okay. Oh, it's moving. She's moving. I'm sure I saw it move there. Let's see if I can move it with the shaft here. Yep, it's moving. Okay, we got action on this, finally. Okay, that's enough heating, pretty sure. Now, with any luck, that little bit of movement is going to start the solvent going in. Yeah, it's definitely moving. It's very, very stiff. It's got to get loose enough that this little spring is going to pull this thing. This thing should probably be pretty floppy, in fact. That's a long ways to floppiness. If the shaft down here has one of two things happening to it, it has dried lubrication in it that has turned into glue and is just packing the where the shaft goes through the sleeve. It's just packing it with crap, glue basically. I gotta hope the solvent will go down there and wash it all out. How can it possibly do that? How can you possibly get enough solvent through there? So typically the only way to actually fix this kind of thing is to pull the shaft out and clean in there and clean the shaft and put it back together. Which in many cases you can do that in these things, but wow, down in here, am I ever going to get down in there? Whew. That's a lot to take apart. It's a much bigger problem than let's just move this thing as far as we can here, that way. Move it back. Oh, what just happened? What just happened? I think I might have bent this rod just now. Son of a gun. Okay, that's how those rods get bent. Now I know. Let's force this somehow. Force it against something. Make sure it's not locking against that. This is tough on the machine here, what I'm doing. Pushing on parts that might not appreciate it. I mean, a big power screwdriver here. Power that baby. Now, I'm very sensitive to the idea that this mechanism may be encountering other stops on purpose, and I'm going to putting a lot of power in here. I got a lot of power. You got a big handle on that screwdriver. A lot of power. Break something easy. Just go back and forth in the loose area. Just be, yeah, loose. Back and forth. Ugh. So this is the first record player I've ever had that has something like this particular bung up in it. Certainly had others with dried up shafts, so to speak. Now watch it. This is disengaging here. But I get more light. More light. No, it's okay. I don't like how this switch part is loose here. It's kind of worrying me. So that's the limit in that direction. You can't get farther there. So it's all about going this way. Oh my gosh. Make sure nothing's catching. I don't know, this is not good. This is not a good situation at all. It's not loosening up. Stronger solvent. To get a solvent to clean a shaft in a sleeve, you almost have to pump the solvent into one end and have it flow out the other while you work it. And it's got to be pretty loose already to do that. This is nowhere near that. And I think as it cooled down, it got tighter and tighter, too. Talking about cooling down, where are we at? So it's just cooled right down. Of course. Another round of heating. Let's add some more. Gee, what if I mix alcohol and WD-40? Yeah. What happens if you mix those guys up? I don't know. So all I can do is kind of dab it on the top of the rivet, which is kind of a dumb thing. I doubt it is supposed to pivot on the rivet. I doubt that. I don't know if I can get alcohol even in there. Yeah. I don't know. Let's heat it up. Just move it a bit here. This will blow away the alcohol pretty quick. So I'm really, think about this, I'm really trying to heat up this gray material, and I'm blowing it on the arm here. I should probably just try to blow it on the gray metal. And then the heat's going to take quite a bit of time to flow. There's a lot of gray metal here. The heat's going to flow away. It's going to be hard to get the temperature up on it. I'm going to be hitting it with 100 degrees C, air coming out of here. I need to jack that way up. There's some wires under here I can see. I'm going to melt them. I'm not careful. Darn wires are right in contact with the metal I'm heating up, right where I'm heating it up. Son of a gun. Okay, where are we at here? Not very hot. Yeah, I think there's just so much metal here. So it's warming up. The thing about heating up this metal is it's going to retain the heat for quite a while. It's going to work on that for quite a while. Let me blow the heat in this way. Just hoping I'm not damaging anything in air by accident here. Okay. Where are we at now? 50 degrees. It's getting pretty warm. So there's going to be some maximum temperature I can heat this up to, where the 100 degrees C coming out is dissipating in the metal, so the metal is only going to come up to 80 at the most, or something like that. Getting plenty hot there now. Not quite 60. Okay, let's give this a little try. Okay, move that baby. Probably move a lot easier now. So much for that. It's worse. What has happened? Wow. Okay, so this whole approach, I think, is oh, there it goes. There it goes. Move it a long ways. Ah, move it a long ways. Move it a long ways. Where's my big driver? It's going a lot further this time than it went before. How far can you go? Feels like about there. That could be the limit. Let's see if I can pull it back with the control. Ooh, I'll break the knob. Break the knob. Pull it back with this. Wow. You gotta be a He-Man to make this record player work. I suppose a she-woman could do it too. Wow. Well, I don't know what to do other than just keep working this thing. Let's spray some more WD in there this time. I mean, WD is claimed to be a penetrating oil. Oh, look what you do. I'm just looking at my beautiful sleeve there. Hey, this thing just clicked. No concern. Feels like it's tightening up. That's the wrong one. Probably tightening up as it cools off. That didn't work. It's cooling off. It's just bunging right up again. I don't think we're going to succeed here. I don't think any amount of mechanical operation there is going to succeed. This has to be disassembled, and that shaft has to be pulled out of the sleeve. Well, I think that's where we're going to end it today, because that's a big job in itself, and I've never done it before. See, all these screws are all locked down, and everything has to be in right, adjusted right. Yikes! Man alive, we can't let this be the end of this record player. So even if the automatic mechanism doesn't work, we could get to the point where you can just lift the tone arm off, bring it over and put it down. We could get there. That's not very satisfactory, but that may be where this is going. Okay, well, thanks a lot for watching. Unfortunately, this has ended in a very disappointing situation. Spend the rest of today thinking about it a little bit, and maybe there's a solution out there for getting this guy going without disassembling it and getting into just bigger and bigger problems all the way. Thanks for watching.